With technology being increasingly used in health, it gives users and customers the convenience of understanding their health right at their own home. From the article, How Self-Tracking Biometrics Influence Patients, Medicine, and Society, it states how there are dozens of digital health devices that help people gather data and track their biometrics. Technology has become increasingly advanced today because these wearables can track your steps, your heart rate, the amount of floors and distance you've traveled, your mood, your temperature, your blood oxygen level, and much more. But with this advancement, could this be a good thing or a bad thing? Would users stop making their appointments for their next checkup since they could just do it all at home? So according to the article, many of the healthcare applications do not meet the data safety standards or guarantee the accuracy of the measurements, while some are not based on any evidence at all. So then this raises the question on who gets to see the data we gather on these health applications or who makes these decisions based off of the data. So through reading these articles, one thing I learned is how the Apple Watches now uses an ECG app on there, which I didn't even know, which pretty much is basically records an electrocardiogram, which basically checks and finds the rhythm and pulses of your heart rate to understand if your heart rhythm is out or in of rhythm. One thing that I learned from these articles is how much data is tracked and how there are so many features possible now with these devices such as an Apple Watch. Users could just track their heart rate without even going to the closest pharmacy and sticking their arm into a machine. In my opinion, the advancement of health and technology is amazing, but depending on how we use it is the issue.
Tracking your own personal health data has become so much easier with smartphone devices and health apps. But how reliable and trustworthy are these apps and the data that it creates? Since there are so many devices like Fitbits and Apple Watches and health apps in the market, but there is a lack of regulation in which many of these apps don't meet the standards of data safety and also probably might not be 100% accurate in their measurements. Something in the article that I found interesting is the question, where is the border between a patient interpreted as a body and a data repository, and the patient perceived as a human being? When everything becomes so data driven, we tend to look at the results or algorithms of data um, to determine the state of our health instead of what we might actually feel. So, do doctors really use consumer data to their advantage to treat patients, or do they view them as unnecessary and something that would add more confusion and difficulty to an already hard process? So, what I think is that doctors would be able to get a glimpse analysis of the consumer data presented, but would probably not do a lot about it because even if it was transferred to an electronic health account, the data on the heart rate and physical activity would be ignored by doctors. I learned that a personal informatics tool could be very useful in tracking the data that is produced by how your body works, such as the steps you take every day or the number of hours that you're sleeping. But there are many reasons why people stop using the tool because of a lack of um, the tool limitations, the accuracy of the data, and the lack of time. So I personally used to use my Fitness Pal app that could track my diet, but I stopped using it because of the lack of time and also lack of remembering to log it in myself. The only thing that I have on my phone is the health app, which I don't really use often, but it is still collecting data on my steps. I'm not sure how accurate the data could be because if they're calculating the steps you take per day on your phone and you don't bring your phone with you all the time, I don't believe that it would accurately record how long you did an activity. So 1 out of 5 people abandon these apps after using it once.
Personal informatics, in a way, caters informatics to everyday life. As an individual, there's a lot of things about the human body and inner life that we have to track. It's not easy to do it without tools to assist us. Personal informatics helps us do that with ease. Apps to monitor several aspects of our health are everywhere, including the Health app, included in all Apple smartphones. This data, in fact, is personal. We can see a lot of stuff in this app, including activity, mindfulness, nutrition, sleep, everything that helps us do what we're doing every day. All of this is valuable information that we can use for our own benefit and to the benefit of others, such as doctors. There are downsides, however, since most of the data is locked behind the code within these apps, an average user won't be able to utilize the data to the fullest. Personal informatics needs to be looked on at a results basis, rather than just the face value numbers. As we can see from the next slide, there's a personal informatics model seen here. The app mentioned isn't quite looking at the action part of personal informatics. The individual needs guidance on how to utilize that information given to enhance their health.